Hello, hello, this is Mr. Barr, and we're going to take some notes here. Factoring trinomials with a leading coefficient, mixed signs, which means instead of everything being positive, positive, we could have negative, negative, or positive, negative. It can get all mixed up on us. So we've already talked about why we're doing this with polynomials. We're going to be able to solve polynomial equations. So here's one from yesterday. I start by listing out all the ways to make the 5, listing out all the ways to make the 6, and remember that I have to flip the 6's over, so it will be 1 times 6 and 6 times 1, or 2 times 3, or 3 times 2. So flipping them over, remember to do that. Then I start testing it out to see which ones work. So actually, which ones would work? Would it be the 5 and the 1? So let's test it right here. So what I really do is I look at, I can actually kind of do it here. Let's see. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 6 is 30. So it would take me to 31 or 29. That doesn't work. So 1 times 6 is 6, and 1 times 5 is 5. So 6 and 5 doesn't get me to a 17. How about this one right here? This is it right here, isn't it right? So 2 times 1 and 5 times 3, that's these guys right here are the pairs that work. Remember, these are my x's, and these are my not x's. So this is just a review. There it is. But now we're going to start throwing a negative into this. Before, everything was positive, 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 so you can see positive, positive. The answers are going to be positive, positive. But as soon as I start seeing a negative in here, that means there's a negative somewhere. So let's take our notes. Start with your name. And we're doing factoring trinomials with leading coefficients, mixed signs. I'm not going to fit. Leading coefficients, mixed signs. And the first one we're going to do is right here. So 2x squared plus 7x minus 4 and it starts off the same way as all positives. I'm going to list out ways to make a 4. I'm going to list out ways to make a 2. So we'll start with 1 and 4, 2 and 2, and I have to flip the 1 and 4, so it'll be a 4 and a 1. I don't have to flip the 2 and a 2 since flipping it isn't going to do anything, right? 2 times 2 is the same thing as 2 times 2. And I have my 1 and my 2 here. Now, one of these 3 possible combinations is going to work. So I'm going to start testing it. Now, hopefully you're getting good at testing so you don't have to write everything down, but I'll write it down. Let's test 1 and 2. With 1 and 4. So this will give me a 2 and a 4. Using a 2 and a 4, can I get myself to a 7? 2 plus 4 is 6. 4 minus 2 is 2. I can either get myself to a 6 or a 2, but I can't get myself to a 7. This one did not work. So notice I'm adding and subtracting to see if it'll work. On the last lesson, I just had to add. Today, I'm adding and subtracting. Let's try another one. Let's test 1 and 2. 2 and 2. That gives me a 4, and the outside's giving me a 2. Nope, that's not going to work. Using a 4 and a 2, well, I'm at the same place again. I'm either at a 6 or a 2. That's not going to work. Well, I'm hoping it's going to be this last one. It's going to be the last one. For a moment there, I got a little bit scared, like it wasn't going to work. It's going to work, though. 1 and 2, 4 and 1. 8 and 1. Using an 8 and a 1, can I get myself to the 7 that I'm looking for? And the answer is yes, I can. Is it 8 plus 1? No. Is it 8 minus 1? Yes. So you see that 1 right there? That needs to be a negative, so I'm going to throw a negative on it. So we know it's going to be this one right here and that one right there. That's the combination that unlocks this. These are my x's. These are my not x's. Let's build it. What's my first x? 1x. What's my second x? 2x. What's my first not an x? 4. What's my second not an x? 1. Now I have to stop and really think about the signs. I want there to be a negative 1. And I want the 8 to be positive. Well, the 8 is right here. This is 4 times 2. But I want that to be positive. So should I put a positive here or a negative here? I want, when I multiply 4 times 2, I want it to be positive. So this needs to be a positive on the 4. And when I multiply this, 1x times 1, I need it to be a negative. So I put a negative there. I can always check my answers, so let's check it. Right here, I have 2x squared. That worked. Right here, I have negative 4. That worked. Right here, I have 8x and negative x. 8x, negative x, 7x. That worked. It's a game of listing out all the possibilities and then just testing it to see which ones work. That's it for your notes. We're going to do some practice now. So here I am listing everything out. Actually, this is a different problem. This is a different problem. So I'm going to start testing it to see which ones work. So let's test 3 and 1 and 1 and 2. That gives me a 1 and a 6. Using a 1 and a 6, can I get to a 1 that's right here? Nope. So that one doesn't work. Let's try another one. Let's try 3 and 1, 2 and 1. Using a 2 and a 3, can I get to a positive 1? Yes. Which one should be positive? Which one should be negative? Let's start putting our things in here. So these are the ones that are going to work right here. Those are my not x's. Right here, those are my x's. So my first x is 3. And my second x is 1. 2 and 1. Now we have to really think about our signs here. I want the 2 to be negative, so there's my negative on my 2. And I want my 3 to be positive. That gives me a positive 3. Does it work? Well, let's check it. 3x times 1x is 3x squared. That worked. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. That worked. And my inside terms give me a negative 2x. Outside gives me a 3x. Negative 2x, positive 3x. That becomes the positive 1x right there. Try this one. I'm going to start by listing out all the ways to make a 3. Oh, and a 3. So there are only 2 possibles here, and I think I'm going to get really good and guess this one first. Try that one. Let's see, does that work? 9, 1. Using a 9 and a 1, can I get to a negative 10? Yes, I can, which means they're both going to be negative. Negative 9 and negative 1 gets me to a negative 10. So these are my x's, and these guys right here are my not x's. My first x is a 1, my second x is a 3, my first not an x is a 3 and a 1, plugging it in, and everything is negative. Ah, this is the good one. Okay. Is this the good one? I can't remember. Okay, let's try this one. Let's list out some ways to make a 4. I could go with 1 and 4. I could go with 2 and 2. I could go with 1 and 5. Or 5 and 1. I'm looking at them. I'm thinking about them. I think it's going to be, so I'm getting good at this in my head, so I think I'm going to try these 2 first. I think those are going to be the ones that work. Let's try them though. Using a 10 and a 2, can I get myself to a positive 8? Yes. There we go. 10 minus 2. 10 minus 2 is positive 8. The first 2 are my x's. And my second 2 are my not an x's. And I want the 10 to be positive, right? So I have to put the positive here, so I get a positive 10. And I want the 2 to be negative, so I put a negative there to make a negative 2. I think that's my last example. Is that my last example? That's my last example! Thank you for watching.